Cyberpunk Edgerunners is filled with interesting characters, and while a few of them stand out among the cast, none of them outranks Lucy. We'll be going through why Lucy has become popular for more than her good looks and great talents. It's no doubt she would be considered the most beautiful Edgerunner in the series, but it takes much more than a pretty face to be the best character in an anime series. So, what are some traits that makes Lucy such an iconic character in Cyberpunk Edgerunners? We must first consider her background story. At a young age, Lucy and 12 other children were selected and underwent private training in the secret Arasaka facility. After their training, the children would be sent on deep dives underground to visit the pre-data crash net, or old net, to find information that Arasaka wanted to obtain. Many of these dives, however, were very dangerous and often resulted in many of the children's demise. With each training and dive, Lucy and the remaining survivors would learn new skills, and after realizing they were going to eventually die chasing someone else's dream, then why not die chasing their own dream instead? With the highly advanced skills taught to the kids, their captors had no chance in preventing the escape. The day they made their escape was truly a horrible time, as Lucy explained that as she would hear her friends dying scream, but had to keep running without ever looking back. Lucy eventually finds herself in Night City, where she meets Maine and joins his cyberpunk crew, alongside Kiwi, her mentor. In the series' introduction of the character, however, is that she's a thief who steals shards from corpos and even tries to steal David's shard, but fails after David's Sandevistan implant allowed him to stop her before she could succeed. Then, with the revelation of her backstory, her character is further explored and we see how she becomes the skilled hacker she is today. Another interesting aspect about Lucy that makes her the best in the Cyberpunk Edgerunner series is her personality and how she acts. While it is true that Lucy is pretty tough, beneath the layer of toughness she presents to everyone, however, there is a fragile girl willing to share the love with anyone and everyone. The character, however, keeps this side so hidden that by far, the only person who has seen this side is David. The perfect blend between the tough tech hacker and the young girl who dreams of visiting the moon one day makes her character even more sophisticated. This character's sophistication makes her even more intriguing and brings us to yet another revelation of why Lucy is such an astounding character. The first time David was truly exposed to this hidden side was when they traveled on an imaginary tour to the moon. While on this little date, David discovers that Lucy had a desire to one day visit the large celestial body and eventually promises to take her there one day. This is when viewers get to see a deeper side to Lucy's hard exterior, with her true personality starting to appear before David's eyes. This eventually forms a bond that leads to one of the most memorable relationships in the anime-verse. Now, the events that transpired when David and Lucy first met suggest that she lied to him and used her charm so he would lower his guard. During this moment, even though she has a duty to Maine and the rest of the crew to help them track down David in order to retrieve the Sandevistan, it was clear that what she said during the interaction was honest. With every mission, Lucy is dedicated to achieving her dreams of visiting the moon, and this is evident in her action throughout the series. Aside from a vulnerable childlike inner core, Lucy is also made up of some tender motherly stuff. This tending, caring side often surfaces on most missions she goes on with David and the team. An example of when she exhibits this fine quality is when David was kidnapped by Jimmy Kurosaki. There's an obvious fearful look on Lucy's face when she has been informed that David has been captured. Another memorable scene where this tender affection comes from is when Maine and Doria are trapped during a mission and are surrounded by max-tax soldiers. When David expresses a desire to go save the duo, Lucy tries to stop him, giving him reasons why he shouldn't venture into the infiltrated building. Although David stubbornly refuses to heed her advice and runs into the building, during this moment, fans are exposed to a vulnerable side of Lucy that's more of a waifu than a comrade. Well, speaking of waifus, You do know that Lucy is by far the best waifu in the series. Well, in truth, no other female character comes close to her in this aspect. As David's woman later in the anime, she still retains that soft spot to always protect David, even if it's against himself. This is especially so as David continues on the path which is likely to lead towards developing the permanent state of cyberpsychosis, or even worse, his death. As David does everything in his power to save Lucy, Lucy does whatever she can to make sure David continues to live, even if that means secretly hiding Tanaka's highly classified data on David and killing of Arasaka agents who were investigating this intel. For this reason, Lucy could be considered one of the most sophisticated personalities in the series, and thus contributing to why she's the best character in the series. Next up, we'll explore her character transformation. It is not often that one sees a character with massive baggage from the past still making efforts at their transformation. The ability of her character to grow despite her painful upbringing makes her vastly different from other characters like Rebecca in the series. As a netrunner, one can even compare her to Kiwi, her mentor. Some would say she's a netrunner prodigy. A strong example of this is when Main takes Kiwi out while she's doing a deep dive into Tanaka's mind. During that unexpected moment, Lucy is forced to take her place suddenly. However, she manages to complete the job effectively under these strenuous circumstances. Lucy steps up for what she believes in and defends it passionately. She's a go-getter and is sure about what she wants. This attitude differentiates her from David himself, who was more or less naive for a good part of the anime series. Lucy's character may be due to the fact that she had a tough upbringing, so she was forced to mature a lot faster than many would have. This next reason discusses the subject from a fresh new perspective, and that is her character design. Studio Trigger, the producers of previous works such as Darling in the Franxx and Kill la Kill, are known for their unique and sharp art style, so naturally, fans of Cyberpunk 2077 were incredibly excited to see how they would adapt the colorful and rich world of Night City. As such, fans weren't disappointed with the end product, with all characters having colorful and expressive styles, as she sports a bodysuit with a stylish cropped jacket, all of which adds to her overall visual appeal. So what makes Lucy the best character in Cyberpunk Edgerunners? Her undeniable beauty. All of these aspects are so perfectly blended to create a character with so much mystery and potential, keeping fans in anticipation of what new stuff she'll come up with. And that's what makes Lucy the overall best in the series. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you wanted to check out why Cyberpunk Edgerunners has grabbed everyone's attention, then be sure to watch it here. Thanks for watching!